Today we have this farm scene with a sort of a frozen river going by and a lot of some vegetation and just kind of a really rural scene. Before I get to that, I thought I would, since we're using a 3-color palette, I thought I would show you a brief lesson in gradation. I'm going to write that down, make sure you can. Gradation. You want to try to get, when possible, in your larger shapes, you want to try to get a little bit of gradation in every shape. And what's gradation mean? Okay, so I'm using a 3-color palette with cobalt, raw sienna, and burnt sienna. So here's the cobalt. Here's the raw sienna. The point I'm trying to make is if you mix 3 colors, and you mix it thoroughly, you're going to get a uniform gray, which is nice, but it can be kind of deadly. So if you have a gray and every once in a while you drag in a little bit of blue,
okay,
or a little bit of the brown, you create a gray that has a little bit of blue, a little bit of the red, a little bit of the yellow, and it's a little more interesting than just a flat color. I'm not sure if that's coming across on the video or not. Gradation. So when we have, and you can do gradations in large areas, like we've done skies with gradations, where you see the colors mixing on the paper. The mountainsides today will have a gradation in them. I've got one more bit there. And I'll try to, instead of painting a flat gray for the barns, I'll try to add a little bit of color into them to keep them sort of lively. So, my quote for today is, try to get gradation in every large shape. I'm getting kind of a... light to dark, big to small, warm to cool, and smooth to rough. Oh my gosh, there's too much to take in. All right, plain water, and we've done this before. I'm going right down to the rooftops of the barns.
you used to put a little schmutz in there to make it so that the television audience can see it.
What do you mean? What do you mean schmutz?
Schmutz in the water.
Oh, yeah, I didn't do that. Okay. So I'm going right down to what I consider my horizon. So I want to have a little bit of, did I say I want to do that? Yeah. A little bit of raw, I'm using 3 colors. My 3 are going to be raw sienna, cobalt, and burnt sienna. So there's my raw sienna. Now, we're only using 3 colors today, so if I just say blue, you use whatever blue you want. Ultramarine, if you want to use alizarin crimson when I'm using a red, you go right ahead. Now, since this is pre-wet, I'm going to go and I'm going to get a little bit of burnt sienna on there. Too much. That blue was just too sweet for me, so I added a little bit of burnt sienna to take a little bit of the blueness out. But I gotta be careful not to do too much of it. Okay, here we go. Now, here we go. And because my paper is on a tilt, it starts to move south on its own. I want to keep that edge on the barn, so I'm being careful over there. Going right down to this little milk house.
Oh, that's what that is.
That's what that is.
Yeah, it's not a dog house anymore.
No, I didn't know what it was.
Oh, now it's
Very
the farm
important
store.
of a dairy farm.
Yes.
No
I
house.
know that it's a no.
Okay, and I'm gonna pull some of these colors right down. If I go too fast, I'll go right into the roofs of these things. That'll drive me crazy. So, gradation. So I've got a little bit of yellow, got a little bit of blue, going right down to there. Clean up that edge a little bit. And let's stop there. I don't want to. If I start to get into the foreground, I'll be going too far ahead of you. So see what you can do. That's about 6 minutes worth of paint. And,
Excuse me,
Yeah.
did you put a wet, this is wet on wet?
I put clear water down first, and then yes, yeah.
Thank you.
If you have to go back into your wash, be careful. Make sure you have much less water on your brush than when you first put the paint down. So if you're touching up, make sure your brush is fairly dry with just a little bit of color in it.
Yeah, okay.
Otherwise, you get some blooms that may or not
I think I got
may or may not be attractive.
it.
Can't have unattractive blooms.
I like this raw sienna. Yeah, this is pretty cool.
And I wish I knew what to tell you about when hairs from your brush fall into your painting. If you try to pick them out, you end up making marks on the paint. I think it's best just to leave them until the whole paint is dry and then flick them away.
You curse it out.
And those of you at home, anytime you have a question, certainly unmute yourself and speak right up. Because you'll probably be asking something that someone else doesn't dare ask. Okay, I'm ready to start another section. I said at the beginning we were going to try to do some gradation. So we've got some gradation in the sky. We're going to go from light to dark. It's another part of my quote. And here's my value sketch. Now the sky is light. The snow is light.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the next lightest thing?
For water? Kind of.
No, water's pretty
The
dark.
shadows. The shadows.
Nope.
It's light or dark?
The next lightest thing is the barn.
Oh, the barn.
Now we think of the barn being dark gray or something, but it really isn't.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to do the barn colors here, and I'm going to try to have a little bit of gradation in it. And we'll do the little red milk house afterwards. Okay, so a little bit of. And am I going to pre-wet this? No, I'm not. I'm going to put the three colors on my palette. I'm going to put it on here and see how it looks. It looks like it needs a little bit more blue. I certainly have. I want to leave that white edge of the barn. So, but then some places I'm going to add a little bit more, little touch of blue. And I'm painting vertically.
Three colors.
Yep. I'm painting vertically, and here I'm going to add a little bit of the red or the
Mm-hmm.
What's your red?
burnt sienna.
Ah,
And I'm going right into the shadow side because I'll be making that darker. I'll go back into the blue a little bit. I'll make sure that that wall is straight, even though this barn is practically falling down.
It looks pretty good.
I want to make sure it's. Okay, so I'm probably going too slowly here.
No.
I'm going to bring this right over into this barn. Reload, a little bit more blue. And this barn goes right into the next barn. And I need to get
what do you call it when you're mixing the different colors, but they're not completely
gradation. Gradation.
No, but you get to see the individual colors
Yeah, that's what I call
sort of a
gradation.
little on their own,
Yeah, that's what I call gradation.
So easy.
mixed
I
into
know,
it.
right?
Unbelievable. Even
And-
though the barn on the right is lighter, you're still gonna make it the same.
The barn. Yeah, well, okay, I could take a little. I don't want that barn. I actually I didn't talk about focal point. I don't want the focal point to be this barn. I actually want it to be this barn. So I don't want to have my strongest contrasts. And I'm gonna do this little. There's a little shed out here. I'm gonna put that baby in. This is a great example of having a shape that's irregular. Up, down, up, cross, diagonals. And we're working from large shapes to small shapes. Now, what I say I'm going to do next, I'm going to get this little red little milk house. This is almost pure burnt sienna with a little bit of the color that I already have on my brush.
So your red is going to be burnt sienna?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm going right into the,
And you had new gamboge.
No.
3 colors at the top.
Oh.
and I went right into the side,
Oh,
which I will make a darker color later on. So gray barn, little red milk house. Oh yeah, maybe a little bit of.
So you closed that door that's open.
Yes, you
didn't
made
want
that
to be a
decision.
focal
Yeah, I didn't. Yes, I didn't want a big black hole in the middle of that thing.
Oh, okay.
I just decided I didn't want it. All right, so I'm going to pause right there and let you guys.
So you'll do your shading on the barns with the roof and everything later?
Yes, once that first color has dried out.
Where's your brother?
Gallately. G-E-L-L?
Gellatly,
L-Y.
yeah.
Okay, because Michael Gallately is on the Art East tour. He's like sort of our age.
Oh.
He's been in here before. He's with Tilly Strauss.
That's the same spelling. That could be this kid's dad.
Michael
Yeah,
Gallately?
yeah, could be. Show to Linda. She, I don't know if she knew the
Yeah.
husband.
No, I just moved.
Okay.
Who's this?
Oh, wow.
He's in the Art East.
Good. Now the question becomes, what's the next darkest color?
Darkest or light?
Well, we've gone, the sky is light, the snow is light. So now we're gradually dropping in colors that are now toward the mid-tones. Now this is gonna, this may be a personal thing. Which seems darker? The mountains or the shadows?
Darker?
Yeah.
Shadows are darker.
Yeah.
Actually, the shadows in the water.
Yeah. I know, well, the water's pretty dark too.
Yeah.
Oh, now I see what you mean about the squinting. I just tried.
I think the
tried
hillside
looking
is
at
next.
paper. If you squint.
To me, I think the mountains are darker than the shadow colors.
Yeah.
The shadows in the river?
No, the shadows on the snow there.
Oh, on the snow.
Oh, on the
And the
snow.
barn,
Yeah.
the roof.
Shadows on the snow are darker than the mountains?
No.
I think that's the way I'm
Darker
gonna
than
read
the
it.
mountains,
That's
yeah.
what, that's why I see it, yeah.
I see the mountains as darker than the shadows.
And, yeah,
Would you say the
Right.
mountains
absolutely.
darker than the shadow?
Now I see what he means about the snow.
Yeah.
Darker than the shadow of the snow?
Yeah.
Come over here. Now sit here and look at my screen. And as you bend down, see how it.
Well, as I bend
No,
down,
you
for
see how-
sure.
You see how that it blends a lot of things.
Yes, oh,
So
yeah.
now I can see that the mountains seem darker than those
Yeah,
shadows, those
you're
blue
right,
shadows.
you're right.
You know.
But it's a false view. I'm sitting 18 inches below the picture.
But because the shadows are against white, they look darker. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right,
Okay, so I'm about to do shadows.
okay.
No, I'm not.
No, you're gonna do the mountain, aren't you?
No,
I thought you were.
Arguing about what
no, I'm gonna do the bushes.
The bushes?
The bushes, all those little
Oh, okay.
little
Okay,
bushes.
Okay.
So I'm gonna get a little bit of my yellow.
You're back to the shadows.
I thought so too, and then I changed my mind.
What, you think the bushes are darker or
Why
lighter?
wouldn't you do?
Well, to me, I think they're
Right,
mid-range,
right,
they're
next.
mid-range to me.
Well, I'm not gonna do the snow because that's just the color of the paper.
Oh, you're just gonna leave that.
Yeah, I won't touch it at all. So I'm gonna get into the bushes and grasses. So that's
Okay.
my yellow and red and okay, let's just keep this kind of loose because I don't want to get too. I'm just using my brush to make little flicking marks as though these are, and this descending toward the river. There we go, and then there's a little big part, and this is you don't have to be slavish to the photograph. You just look at what you think makes interesting shapes. Bing, 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 bing. There we go. And I'm trying to do this with one big brush. I'm trying not to do lots, and then this comes in, and then I see that it comes back across here with some more.
And there you use no blue at all, right?
Nope.
Correct.
No blue, okay.
Now it seems like there's this pathway. Oh, I know. It's the pathway that the cows take to the river. So I've got another big chunk of, well, no blue yet, Doug.
Okay.
boom, boom, boom. And we'll keep this as a good straight line. And you want to keep these shapes irregular. They shouldn't look like a loaf of bread, like a big lump. Oh, I run out of paint. I gotta stop and rethink. Okay. There we go with that. Where else is there? There's a little bit more in here. Okay.
And sorry if
Yeah.
you said it. Which color are you using, or is it a combo?
I'm just using what I'm calling red and yellow, but it's ultramarine and raw sienna for me.
Yep.
I may put it a little. No, I don't know about that. I'll put a little bit. I'll put some of these grasses up here, and I'm gonna put a little bit. No, I'm not gonna do that. I'll save that for
Okay.
later. I don't want to get too many darks down here. Okay, I'm adding a little bit of blue to the bases of these things, figuring that the shrubbery is a little denser at the bottom. So I'm adding a little bit of blue at the bottoms of these washes. And at least that gives these graded shapes a little bit of, gives them a little weight on the bottom by adding that blue.
He's using burnt sienna, raw sienna for the start of the bushes.
Yep, and so I'm adding the blue to give the bushes a little bit of three-dimensionality. Oh boy, yeah, I think I'll leave it there. Okay, so all I did was bush these bushes. So I'll pause here because I don't want to put shadows on until these dry, and I'll let you do the bushes. Well, we don't have any parked cars. We don't have any people in this one, so this is a piece of cake.
Cow, what about the cow?
The cow, yeah. Alan's gonna put a cow coming out.
Well,
Yes.
there are actually, in the picture, there are 3 cows. There's a white, like a tan one, a brown one, and a black one. I put in one of them.
Okay, and I'm looking at that picture really closely. I know that that tan one that you see in the middle is actually a hay bale. Because there's a brown.
There's a brown one and a black one.
Yes, and the brown one's called cinnamon, and I think the black one is, they call them blackie or something original, right? Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
The middle one sort
They
of
don't
looks
call
like
it
a
freezer
cow
order?
too.
it does. It does. It has the same lumpy shape or the same curve of the back. I would agree. God, sounds like horses in here.
What'd you say?
Sounds like horses. All right, I don't think these grasses should be taking too much longer. So I'm going to get into the shadow colors, the shadow shapes, and boy, I'll tell you, they're beautiful. They kind of make the painting in my mind.
On the roof?
On the shadows on the shadows on the snow.
Oh, okay.
And
Blue shadows.
but if you look too closely at them, you're going to see a lot of. This is where you really want to squint to get the shapes. So I'm using some cobalt. I'm putting I'm having a touch of burnt sienna nearby. I don't want to do these damn things twice, so I want to make sure I get enough color.
All right, can I ask, are
Yeah.
you changing your brush size?
Actually, I almost always,
Which one are you using?
I've got about a number 10 or something.
Daddy? It's not the squarish one.
No, and no, that would be too big.
I'm using this.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
That size. It's got a good point. It's got a good point.
What's the question?
What colors are you doing for your main painting? And then you just said cobalt, but I thought you were using ultramarine. So
No, okay, yeah, my three colors, I chose to do cobalt, burnt sienna for the red, and raw sienna for the yellow.
Okay. All right, because I heard the word ultramarine earlier, so I was just getting confused.
Yes, there are others in the gallery here that are maybe using ultramarine. Okay, I'm gonna start at an easy spot right next to this little red building with a shadow right in front of that doorway, or I see a door. I'm putting in a door there. Okay.
So can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Now that you're putting these shadows in, are you gonna make your river darker than
Oh,
these shadows?
yeah.
Yes.
Good question. Okay, and as I do the shadows, I'm picking up the brush near the end of it so that it gets thinner as they go out. Now this almost looks like you could go off and then it goes down. It goes down. Ooh. You can feel like you're on a flying saucer there.
Yeah.
Is that just blue, Ned?
Blue with a little touch of burnt sienna.
Okay.
That's what I was gonna ask.
Good.
This kind of could make or break the picture.
Yeah, I know. And then right down here, it's a big chunk down here. So I don't want to get too, and that comes down also. I'm going right through those shapes there. And I also just gotta look at my painting every once in a while and say, what kind of shapes do I want down here? I want to keep them interesting. I want to get some. I go down. Now I'm onto the ice flows here, or where the and right along the edge of the river there. I'm gonna put that in there.
Oh, wow.
Let's do this. It's still a lot of shadow in this bottom corner. Oh boy, that's too much. See, when I do too much, I just start all over again. Just start again. Okay, here we go. And there's a little bit of white that sneaks through down in here, and then a lot of these little fingers coming down. Okay, and this comes in right down behind there. That looks pretty good. Okay, on the other side of these bushes, there's a lot of shadow next to the bushes as it goes down to the. Put a little bit of there. I have an edge here.
Could you do these shadows at the end of the painting?
What's that?
Could you do the shadows
Yeah,
at the
you
end of the painting?
could. You want to keep the lights and darks in balance, but you could.
He usually does.
But generally, the rule is you're working light to dark,
Yes.
correct?
Right. I'm putting a little bit of shadow right near the bottom of the barn, and I'm gonna. I think I'll probably leave it at that. There's no shadows up there, that's for sure. Okay. We need fortification. Somebody at home has a grandfather's clock. And while you all paint, I'm going to change my water so that I can keep my colors clean.
He likes to keep his plans.
Here we go.
Imagine that.
Okay, I'm going to jump into the river now. Probably
The icy river.
a very, very large piece of this painting. It's really 1/3 of the painting. And I don't want to keep it just one flat color throughout. It's got some dark reflections the upper right-hand corner and lower left-hand corner, and a little bit of the roof of that barn, which we haven't put in yet. So it's got some darks, but I am gonna pre-wet it,
Right.
just because it's such a big area, and if I don't pre-wet it, I'm gonna find myself making ticky-tacky strokes everywhere. I don't wanna do that.
Gonna wet the whole thing.
I'm gonna wet the whole river piece.
You went and wet the whole thing.
Oh, thing.
The whole McGill.
Oh, enchilada.
Right. Now, the problem is, since I'm trying to make it a dark river or a strong color, I've got to put a lot of color because there's so much water on there. So I'm going to keep this sort of dry. You're fine. There's the cobalt, and I'm going to grab some burnt sienna. I really don't think I see any yellows in this. Well, maybe I do later on. Okay.
Towards the upper right,
Yeah, exactly.
there's warmth in there.
There's some warmth from the bushes, yeah.
So here we go. Okay, boom. I'm going right to the edge of that shadow line. Right across.
Oh, I saw that.
Ton of color.
Come on. Okay, boom. Get the color in there.
Has to be darker than the shadows.
It does. So it does have to be darker than the shadow, so I'm getting a little bit of burnt sienna in here. Okay, I'm gonna keep it a little bit lighter in the middle. I'm gonna add some water right there. And right about here, I'm seeing some reflection of that barn roof. Okay, I'm gonna put a little bit of that in there, and then down here I see some darks, probably reflecting those trees that are up in here. I think I get a little bit more dark, just because I know this is going to dry later. And Bill's right. I think maybe there's some. Let's get a little bit of the yellows in here.
Dropping them on me now.
I'm going to drop in some yellow raw sienna into this corner.
Did you wet the whole thing first?
I did.
He did.
I wasn't watching. Sorry about that.
Now, a few horizontal lines to indicate water. And I don't want to keep going back into this too many times. How's that look? Okay, we'll stop there. You've got pretty saturated paper with a lot of blue, a little bit of the yellow and red dropped in there. And I'm going to resist putting reflection lines or little watermarks until this dries out a little bit, because I don't want to. I want to have maybe some sharper edges and not have it blend in like a big caterpillar. I've darkened my lower corner just to keep my eyes going toward the middle. All right. All right, let's start on the next few steps. I'm going to get into the next largest piece, and that is these background mountains. And I see them as being really well, a bluer one off to the right.
Yeah.
It's more distant,
And a warmer one.
and a warmer one coming down through here. But the whole thing is going to be darker than this water down here.
Yeah.
And what do we do?
Darker than the water.
Yes.
That's what he thinks.
And I see the trees way over on the left is darker than the mountain.
Yeah, I do too.
I see that too.
So we got a lot of darks coming in here. Okay, now what brush is going to be my best? Okay, I'm going to do the bluish distant hill first.
Yeah.
And it's not just blue. Again, I'm just adding a little bit of the burnt sienna to it. But it's going to have mostly blue in it. Come on, a little more blue than that.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's got a little notch there. Come on, a little bit more blue. Boy, this cobalt doesn't pick up very well.
No?
I mean, it doesn't come off there we go.
Oh.
There we go. There we go. All right.
Cool.
Now I'm just leaving that.
Yeah.
And now I'm going to mix up a big, okay, I'm not going to pre-wet this next section, so.
Mm.
Did you pre-wet the first mountain?
No. And this one I'm telling myself is going to be more, it's going to be a dark color. I'm going to use all three red, yellows, and blues. And if I feel like it's too, I want to get it more red, so I'm going to get it more red in there. Let's see how this looks. Oh boy, you got to go at it and say, I'm just going to be fearless about this, you know? I've got to deal with the
Cool.
okay, I'm going to leave a little bit of, okay, here we go. Go right down through here. And I see it getting a little bit.
So that crit lasted an hour and 15 minutes.
Yeah, we had there were a lot of people.
Pretty comprehensive.
Okay, so now this tree area over here, I see is a little bit darker than the background, so I'm going to get a little more blue into this, and I'm going to throw this area. Again, I'm just making one big dark shape. It's only a little bit darker than the
Not much.
mountain. Yeah, I know, not much. I gotta be careful now when I get down around this building here. Some of the color I have right on here is. Keep that edge of the barn clean, you know? Okay, good. Knock that baby off. I still will be putting in those pine trees behind the middle of the barn, the middle sections of the barn. That's gonna be even darker than the hillside, so, whoa.
Okay.
Okay. So we've got the largest areas are all done. We've gone from light to dark, big to small. Okay. Oh, so Judy's not gonna come over to me. All right, that's it.
Judy, go for a minute.
Fine, you know, invited her to come up, but she didn't know. Okay, before I get into the shadows on the barns, I do have to, this roof is way too bright.
Yeah.
And same with this one over here. So I'm gonna put a little bit of my blue and my red. And just, it's not darker than the distant hillsides, but it is,
Different.
and it's a metal roof, so that's why it's,
Oh, is that why? Okay. Oh.
I'm not sure I like that. I think I need more color. Okay, and I'm gonna do the same thing with this little roof on the pump house, or the surge house. Okay, so while I'm futzing around with these roofs, let's get some shadow colors on the buildings. Well, should I do the shadow colors on the buildings or my roof next?
Maybe the roof, right?
The roof is lighter than some of the shadows, so I'm going to do the roof next. That rusted metal roof.
What'd you do?
I'll put it down and see how it looks. Okay, that looks pretty good.
Put glycerin, yellow and
Okay, almost burnt sienna. A little bit of the blue just to take. Right down to the edge. One big stroke. Okay, now I'm going to get the shadow sides of these barns. Okay. And it goes right across here.
comes down like roof. You're gonna do that a different color?
I will, yeah. And I'm going to take this color and put it right along the underneath of the roof as a shadow. And same over there.
There's a door there, I didn't see that.
Yeah, there's a door. It's open.
Don't let it hit you.
I'm going to do the shadow side of this little barn, little pump house. I'm going to do a little edge of shadow. I'm going to keep a little small bit of white up there. And that's the shadow that's casting. This is coming down the other side. This is a thinner shadow. A little bit of shadow there.
I didn't see that door.
You weren't watching.
Yeah, 'cause
Okay, here's the little pump house here. Okay. I'm gonna get a slightly smaller brush.
More blue and the burnt sienna.
There we go. Okay. Okay, I'm going to put a little window thing in here. A window deal in here. Now, I am going to, with a very dry brush, I'm going to make a few lines to indicate the barn boards. And the important thing here is to make the spaces between your barn boards, vary them so that they don't look like zebra stripes. Okay, and I gotta go up here. Vary the length, vary the spaces between them. This bottom edge can be irregular because these boards didn't all there we go. And down here, if you notice, the boards actually go in the other direction. I have a little hint of a door that's open down here. Notice, Kathy, I'm just moving my torso. I'm not moving my hand, I'm just moving my torso. Let's see. I'm not gonna fuss.
Okay,
Yeah.
I never heard that before. I'm not moving my hand, I'm just moving my torso.
Right, I'm just standing here with my feet gliding back and forth. So that my hand is more jiggly, but my feet keep it from, I don't know, keep me steadier. Okay, I'm gonna put on this shadow here on the roof, because now it's dry. And I've got a shadow here on the roof. I've already done the shadow on the side of the barn. There's that. Okay, I've got a couple little windows here. I see this barn door as being slightly open. A couple of these little ones here. And if you can start your clapboard lines from a shadow, that always links them a little bit better. Filling in some of my little whites area. I think this little addition is going to be darker. Okay, I'm going to let that go. So, some shadows, the roof color, some shadows, and then a little bit of detail with the siding. And that's what I mean when I say go from smooth to rough, because we got smooth areas in the water and in the mountain, but now we're getting into the rough textures of the barn boards. And you save those rough marks till the end. You lost the picture.
Yeah. I
Um,
guess I'm on desktop. What is it? Oh, what she has got that's that's so young to me. But I can't tell. That's a weird happiness to find. Yes. Okay. How do you see other colors, Dan? What's that? Can you tell us the other colors? Or are you gonna wait?
Wow, every. This is sort of the fun stage where it's like decorating the cake. You got the cake all made, you got the icing on there, now you're just doing the writing and the little details with your knife or whatever. And the more detail you put in, the more someone's eye is going to go to that spot. So if you want details to go to if you want your eye to go to that big barn, put more details in the big barn. If you want your details to go to the long additions, then put more darks and more details in those. But
Nick, Ned, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Ned. It appears that there are like pine trees or some kind of trees behind the three sections of the barn.
I'm gonna put those in right at the end.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
That's okay. No, you're observant, and notice that those are darker even on the hillside. So these are going to be pretty dark notes.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep, and I'll do that, and then I'll put a few branches over on the left or stalks of trees, tree trunks, and I'll put a few lines in the water, but we're about, we got the last 1% left.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay, I'm gonna do the last few steps, and I'm not sure everyone's caught up to me yet, but anything you do now can be, you can pause and do it later on, finish it at home when you are not rushed. But I like to finish by the noon hour. So I'm gonna do those trees in the back, the pine trees that I think Donna noticed. And I'm getting ooh, boy. So I'm getting my blue and yellow, and I'm using these trees to define and create sharp edges for my roof sections. Now, Karen, is that you still unmuted?
I'm sorry, it's me. I can't do anything about it.
Okay.
I'm totally trouble this morning.
Don't worry. Okay, I'm thinking with these pine trees, I don't really see through them very much.
Yeah, they're pretty dense.
They're pretty dense, and you don't want them to look like three identical gumdrops. So I'm thinking mama bear, baby bear, papa bear, baby bear, mama bear. So you get three different
Crazy
size
or-
pine trees there. And I'm also, just because I feel like I need an edge down here, I want to sharpen this edge over here. I'm going to put another one in the at the far edge of that field. And I'm just going to put a few darks down here just as I trail off. Didn't want to hit that one. There. Okay. So there's that. I'm going to do add the red. Come on. I'm going to add a few dark lines, creating tree trunks. And again, you want to make sure the trees are different distances from each other. And different thicknesses, because some trees are older and thicker, some are
This is much too slow.
okay. Don't feel you have to overdo that. And the last thing I'm going to do is a few lines in the stream. This is where I could absolutely just ruin this damn thing. There's like an ice shelf right along the edge of some of this. Okay, leave it like that. Don't get too crazy with it. Keep the big shape simple. I can always go back and
Step away from the brush some more.
I did put in a drag a little bit of dry color at the base of the barn there, perhaps. But I don't know if I want to add too much texture to this thing. All right, I think I'm done. So our theme was gradation in every shape, light to dark, big to small, warm to cool, and smooth to rough. If you look at your pieces and you think those bushes that you put in at the beginning are too bright, which I think mine maybe, you can always go back and add a little touch more color to maybe tone them down or You want to keep, you don't want to kill all of it, but you might want to. If it's too bright and distracting, you might want to just drop a few colors in there. I'll keep that like that. Okay.
Recording stopped.
Okay, the recording stopped, but you're welcome to keep painting or ask questions as we finish up here. I heard that sigh, Joan. Yeah, and since we only used 3 colors today, I've got a lot of colors that need a little spritz of water to keep them loose until next week. I'm not sure that's going to happen, but we'll see.
Do another painting.
Well, yeah, I try to do a painting in between our classes, just that I don't. Just so my brushes don't dry out, or my colors don't dry out.
Okay, I'll just have to let this dry a little bit.
Next week is Martin Luther King Jr.
Yes. And we're plowing right ahead. I mean, if we stop for the President's holiday, which is February, and then this one, we'd lose 2 classes.
Yeah, no,
Yeah. So
No.
we just keep on
this
going.
is watercolor painting, it's much more important.
This is what we do on vacations, right?